everyone and welcome! As a video game that is supposed to last for generations, League of Legends must always have a story that can be expanded. This means that the writers must keep some windows open and some mysteries unsolved. And depending on the size of the mystery, we can expect it to be solved next month, next year, or maybe never. Today I want to talk about 5 mysteries that heavily impact the plot lines within the world of League of Legends. I will not talk about the Darkin because their story is planned to be revealed around the end of this year, so there is no point in guessing what if. So with that, let's begin. Let's start with the oldest mystery on this list. Ionia is a land heavily infused with magic. The God Willow grew here before Ivern cut it down, a lot of Vastayan tribes have their roots here, and the borders between the physical and the spirit realm are very thin here. So it is no surprise that we are dealing with a mystery of a magical nature. Specifically, let's talk about the Shadows. Zed is an orphan that was taken in and trained by Lord Kusho, Shen's father. Together with Shen, they trained to be ninjas of the Kinko Monastery. One time, together with Lord Kusho, they were sent on a mission to track down and capture a murderer known as the Golden Demon. We now know it was Kada Jin. The horrors they saw on this mission changed them all. Lord Kusho grew much older, Shen's light personality turned into depression, and Zed started to reveal his dark side. This is where it all began. Zed always wanted to be the better ninja in Kusho's eyes, yet he could never beat Shen in a duel. So one day he snuck into their temple where he found an ornate foreboding box. He sensed the dark knowledge within and he knew he shouldn't touch it. But out of curiosity, he opened it. His mind was immediately touched by the Shadows, revealing techniques that had long been forgotten. With his new techniques, he decided to challenge Shen again, and this time he won. He expected praise and recognition in his moment of victory. However, to quote the story, but somehow the master knew Zed had used forbidden ways and banished him. After that, Zed had to live on his own and slowly gather followers. As he taught others how to use his new techniques, his own power grew. Soon his followers turned into an army and he marched back on the monastery. When they arrived, Kusho was at the gates waiting for them. He told Zed that he failed him as a master because he banished him instead of leading him to the path of balance. He then told Zed to enter the temple, destroy the box, and lead his followers to balance. Zed followed Kusho inside, but after a while everyone heard Zed cry out in pain. Mysteriously he emerged unharmed and threw the severed head of the master at Shen's feet. Screaming in rage, Zed commanded his followers to slaughter the master's students and seize the box. And this is the mystery. We have no idea what happened inside, but there are some connections we can make. For example, when Zed emerged, he was furious. Kusho must have been hiding something so serious it was enough to make Zed slaughter everyone. The other option is that instead of destroying it, Zed fully unleashed the box and absorbed all of the Shadows, which enraged him. It is also possible that the box wasn't there because he ordered everyone to get it, so maybe he was furious about that. But I think there is one more explanation. There are hints pointing at the fact that Kusho himself knew about the shadow techniques and possibly mastered them as well. At the very beginning, the story said that somehow the master knew Zed had used forbidden ways. If Zed didn't summon any shadows or did anything obvious in that duel, how did Kusho know? He would know only if he himself knew how to use the shadow techniques, which could be acquired only by opening the box. On top of that, when Zed marched onto the monastery, Kusho was standing there ready to meet him. He knew in advance that Zed was approaching, so there must have been some other connection between them. These all point at the fact that Kusho himself was the master of shadows the whole time. But what really happened inside the monastery remains hidden in the shadows. For our next mystery, let's move to one of my favorite places in Valorant, Mount StarGaN. The mystery of Mount StarGaN is one of those that heavily affect the entire universe, meaning this story may not be fully explained in the next few years. In fact, the more they reveal, the more they limit themselves for the future. So, we know that there is something above Mount StarGaN. As I said many times before, I will stand by my theory that Targon itself is a portal that connects Runeterra to the entire pantheon scattered across Cosmos. However, there are two things that need explaining. Number 1. What really is the Golden City sitting in the clouds mentioned in everyone's story? Is the city the real home to the pantheon? Is the city on the other side of the galaxy, but we can see it because Targon serves as a gateway there? Or is the city only hidden in the clouds of Runeterra? And more importantly, who lives there? How come the people of Runeterra look just like the people of this holy city, but instead of flesh they are made of celestial things? Did the people of this holy city place the first humans on Runeterra? There is a lot that needs to be explained. The other thing is, what are these strange creatures that turn into black tar when killed? They are mentioned in all the Targonian stories. These creatures live near the peak of Targon, and they are certainly not originally from Runeterra. Leona had the biggest interaction with these creatures, and we still don't know anything about them. The story of Mount Targon always fascinated me the most, so every time we hear more about the galaxy, I become a little bit happier. But for all we know, this mystery is in the stars. I should really stop that. For the next mystery, we'll stay in the mountains, but we'll move to Bard Mountain. Arguably the only piece of lore we have about Bard. This event is something I even made a theory video about. That's because there is so much potential here. All of this boils down to one thing. What was Bard protecting? We know why he has done what he has done, but we don't know what that thing he teleported away was. We know that he was taking away an artifact that could destroy entire nations if it ended up in the wrong hands. That's most likely why Noxians were fighting for the mountain to get it. Obviously, a magical egg dripping with power would be appealing to them. But what was it really? My theory was that it was a moonstone connected to Nami's lore, or something used to fight the void. There are tons of artistic connections to Targon, so I still think Bard won't be too far away from that. But if such powerful artifact existed in the hands of humans, how many more are there? And how did it end up in the hands of an old mage? This is something that inevitably will be explained since Bard has little to no lore, but right now we got nothing but theories. Next up we have Ezreal. This is another mystery that will be explained sooner or later, simply because it is part of Ezreal's character, and it includes another character that might become a champion in the future. Of course, I am talking about the gloves from the tomb of Nezuk. When Ezreal was a child, his parents traveled around the world hunting for treasures. One day they learned about a magical gemstone of the mage Nezuk. This gemstone had the power to teleport its owner around. Ezreal's father often joked about how they would use it to jump home every evening for dinner. But as Ezreal grew older, his parents returned home less and less often, until one day they didn't return at all. So Ezreal took the matter into his own hands and traveled to Shurima, where they treasure hunted a lot. Years passed and he finally found the legendary tomb of Nezuk. Inside he found a glove decorated with the gemstone. The thing is, Ezreal doesn't know that there used to be two gloves and the other one is somewhere out there. This is a mystery that became a huge part of Ezreal's story arc. So one day it will be revealed whether his parents are somewhere out there with the gemstone looking for him, or whether someone else got the other glove. Riot mentioned that if Ezreal knew the other glove existed, he would be interested in finding it, hinting that the story is in works. For now though, that's all we know, which is nothing really. And the last mystery I want to talk about is Jax. Jax is a very strange being because he doesn't fit anywhere. Even the world of League of Legends has certain rules, but it seems like Jax doesn't care about them. We know he is originally from Icathia, a city that got destroyed by the Voidborn when Malzahar opened a rift there. We also know that he is probably very old because there are hints that the ascended warrior Queen Setaka fought for Icathia, so he must be few hundred years old. So what could he be? One option is that he was corrupted by the Void and changed. This would explain his 8 eyes and 3 fingers to some degree. It also explains this part of the story. No part of his flesh was visible, which was probably just as well. He wasn't even sure what his skin looked like anymore. This line could hint that Jax was affected by radiation from the Void, corrupting him and changing him. One thing is weird though. Kassadin also got corrupted, but he stayed mostly human. only now he can use the void magic. Also, the void wants to consume you so it can adapt. It doesn't want to fuse with you, so the three fingers still seem weird. Then there is the other option. Maybe Jax is the last of his Shuriman tribe. Since Icathia was destroyed, there would be no one else left. Maybe he is Vastayan and he is the last one of his tribe. This would explain why he looks like a combination of a frog and a human. But that's pretty much all we know about him too. And these were the 5 mysteries I wanted to bring up today. Of course there are more unexplained things in the lore, but most of them were avoided on purpose. For example, Nagake Buros or the creation of Aurelian Soul. These 5 mysteries, however, were left open specifically so they could be explained later on. So in a way, here's 5 things you can be looking forward to in the future. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to rate this video and subscribe for more lore. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Discord if you'd like to chat. Special shout out to our Patreons for going the extra mile. And to the rest of you, thank you so much for being here and for your support. You know I really appreciate it. And as always, thank you come again.